Blueprints was one of those games that just felt like it changed things. If you've played Blueprints, then you probably know what I'm talking about. This is one of those games that the memories and feelings it causes long outlast the time spent playing the game. Regardless of how far you've got in the game, you'll remember your first playthrough. You'll remember because one day in the future you'll be flicking through an old notebook and you'll find all those pages of notes you made, and you'll remember how invested you were in unravelling this game's mysteries. If you haven't played Blueprints, I encourage you to. I'll endeavour to make the first section of this video spoiler free, so you can watch that much without having anything spoiled, but I strongly suggest you don't watch beyond that, because this is one of those games that you just can't experience properly second hand. Blueprints is an adventure puzzle roguelike in which you play as Simon P. Jones.
My grandnephew, Simon P. Jones.
Simon P. Jones. This motherfucker's so posh, even his relatives use his full name. Heir to the Mount Holly estate, tasked with the objective of reaching the mansion's elusive 46th room. The gameplay revolves around this estate and its rearranging architecture. The player must approach each door within the house, then when presented with a pool of 3 possible rooms, draft the room they think is the best choice to help them progress, continuing in that way from each door in the newly drafted room. Each night, the mansion is reset, any items you find within are lost, and the player must start again from scratch the next day, which is where the roguelike elements come in. But aside from the layout of the mansion and the items, all your other progression is retained. You enter the mansion each day with the knowledge and experience you gathered the day before, which is the best metric of your progress in Blueprints, because really, it's your most useful asset. Oh shit, it's Richard Gere's room. The way that this game shows you an inch but hints at a mile is one of its main strengths. As you progress through the game, it has this miraculous way of growing in scope and keeping you hooked, all while exploring in a world sculpted in an interesting and unique art style, accompanied by a beautiful ambient and mood-altering soundtrack. And that's it. That's the spoiler-free version. If you haven't played the game, go play it before watching further, because this is a world that's best discovered for yourself, and beyond this point, there's no turning back. In the early stages of Blueprints, everything's still ahead of you. Though you learn the mechanics of the game quickly, and your focus is all on reaching the antechamber, it's all about visiting rooms for the first time, exploring them, looking for hints or puzzles. I remember throwing many a run in the early days just to draft a room I'd never seen pop up before, or sometimes I'd just be Simon P. Jonesing for one specific type of room, like getting the utility room when I have the dark room drafted. Kinda looks like Simon P. Jones wants to finger Simon's a-hole. Quickly you start piecing together the really early puzzles, looking at the red and blue notes, finding the security terminal password, seeing different room combinations, beginning to realise that anything could be a hint, and getting those first teasers of what's to come in the future. Those fucking dots have gotta be, that's gotta be something. That's gotta be something. Then you start getting your first permanent unlocks. I remember opening the garage for the first time and feeling like I'd made a huge step towards finishing the game. Looking back, it's crazy that I was both right and wrong simultaneously. I think walking through the mansion grounds and hearing the jazzy music kick in was when this game really started to click for me. At this point, I became so absorbed in the game's melancholic atmosphere, loving the ambient music and simple but interesting art style that helps highlight the game's clues. In fact, probably my only single complaint at this point was that the walk speed was slightly too slow.
Excuse me?
Hello?
Did you just complain that the walk speed was too slow?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty slow.
Simon P. Jones will not stand for this slander.
But it's slow, man, look.
Look in the menu.
The menu?
Look in the menu right now.
Okay.
Look, there, LT to stroll. Just press that, you idiot, before you blame Simon P. Jones.
Oh, fair. While I was still striving for reaching the antechamber, I was already starting to see the things this game does to help you improve your runs, such as the coat check, permanent room upgrades, ordering items to the commissary, tomorrow rooms. This game is made up of so many levels, drafting and roguelike elements, puzzles, mysteries, secrets, and all of this only becomes more and more clear as you progress further. Could it be this? No? Oh, maybe this? No? Oh. There are already signs of the puzzles that will take you hours and hours to solve. I remember staring at this one sheet of music in the workshop for a literal hour, not yet knowing that there were more to find, and thinking there had to be some answers here. With all of this combined, it came as no real surprise to me that when I finally reached the antechamber, I couldn't actually access it. I wish for loads more coins. I wish for loads more coins. I wish for loads more coins. Oh sweet, loads more coins. Something that I think is so interesting about this game is that there's no clearly defined progression. You can more or less discover everything at your own pace. Therefore, there's no way to say when the mid-game begins. But for me, it's somewhere around the time you get close to reaching room 46. Whatever it is you've discovered up until now, the mid-game is when things really start to open up. When you first start to reach those places you saw in the early game and thought, what if? And when the puzzles start to become far more difficult and more obscure. The feeling this game gives you when you connect the dots on something that's been baffling you for ages is amazing. And this game also gives you the opposite of that feeling when you realise you've been overlooking something obvious the whole time. It's at this stage in the game when I first started to suspect everything might be a clue. What is that V on this clock? It's the only clock that has the V. What does it mean? For example, when I first realised the art was a puzzle, when I'd been consoling myself all along that it couldn't be, was a mind-fucking blown moment. Oh my fucking god, the paintings they do mean something. Oh my fucking god, I knew it. I knew it. All the pieces for some puzzles start falling into place, while fragments of what might become the pieces of late game puzzles start to reveal themselves. And by the time you finally reach room 46, you already know this won't be the end of the game. How could it be, when you've still got 15 other threads that you've not yet pulled? Sometimes, something you think is just a secret can permanently change a room for the better. This game has an excellent sense of growing in scope. It starts feeling small and expands and expands. When you find something new and cross into a new area for the first time, that feeling's unbeatable. There's always something else to aim for, whether it's just trying to solve something that's vexing you. Seriously, what is this fucking V for? I've been waiting here for ages. Nothing happens between 11 and 1, or at 5 past 11, or 5 to 1. What does this fucking V mean? Or drafting a boiler room connecting to the laboratory. Seriously, I solved the laboratory puzzle on day 2 and then couldn't draft one connected to the boiler room until something like day 32. And then while doing this, I drafted a boiler room and connected to a pump room and realised that by powering the spare tank, I could now drain the reservoir. So I head down there and get busy going through and unlocking all the boxes, and I still haven't even tried draining the kitchen or the greenhouse. There's always something more with this game. For me, the late game begins when you've opened up the sanctuary and solved the 8 realms puzzle. When the leads start to dry up, but you start to realise that earlier, when you suspected everything was a clue, you were absolutely right. There were even clues on the in-game tutorial notes. I mentioned earlier that this game is made up of so many levels: drafting, roguelike elements, puzzles, mysteries, secrets. In the late game you realise even those levels have sub-levels, puzzles within secrets within mysteries. Oh, piggy bank. Oh, I wonder if it's got all the money that goes in the chapel's reason got test was taken. Yeah, it's got all the money in it that I put every time I go in the chapel. Oh, that's cool. All right, I'm gonna leave this for now because I've got a plan. Oh yeah, look at this strategy. With the bedroom replenishing my steps, I can just endlessly deposit my coins into the Keeper of Riches, whatever the fuck he's called, and then I can come back when I've got a showroom and smash him, and I can get that trophy for buying everything in the showroom. Oh yeah. Right, okay. I've got a showroom, I've put loads of coins in the Keeper, I've already got 90 coins, it's time. Yes, break him. Give me that sweet, sweet coins? Gold coins. 155, okay, cool. I think I've got enough. Old tin can, nice. Yep, that's good. Ornate compass. Yes, I've still got enough money. Wait, trophy of wealth. I have to fucking buy it. That is such bullshit. All of my plan, all of my hard-earned, my hard deposited gold, ruined. One of the things I love about this game is how it gives you ideas and they don't always go anywhere. For instance, I spent hours trying to make the red castle from the end of the Red Prince book, and when I finally did, it netted me nothing. But I didn't mind because it was enjoyable to do, and sometimes those seemingly ridiculous what-if situations end up being exactly what you need to try.
Simon P. Jones just Simon P'd himself.
Or sometimes you'll spend hours after hours trying to work out what a V on a clock in a specific room means. I don't know what the V means. Waiting here to see if I can find out what the V means. I'm gonna work out what the V means. What does this fucking V mean? Waiting in the room until it's that time frame, trying to draft the room within that time frame, searching every nook and cranny for any hint that might help you open this seemingly locked drawer in that same room, to no avail. Hang on, what if you buy a special key from the locksmith within that time frame? Even at this stage of the game, there are still new avenues to explore, unlockables that lead to unlockables. Getting the blue tent notes at this stage is also an excellent way to deliver hints. As there is this freedom to discover everything at your own pace, it's very possible there's still something you could have solved or discovered fairly early on in the game that you didn't. So these notes are great for giving you something else to focus on as you go through tying up your dwindling list of loose ends. They might just give you another. It's crazy to think how many times you could have stopped playing when you played through this game and felt satisfied you'd pretty much seen it all. You could have stopped when you reached room 46. You could have stopped when you opened all the sanctuary doors, when you solved the 8 realms puzzle, when you ascended, when you passed through the blue door in the tunnel. Even beyond all of that, there's still the still water puzzle and the atelier, which is apparently pronounced that way. I did not know that. I imagine most players don't make it this far. I would have given up in the late game if I hadn't looked up some of the solutions. Even with all the clues, I never would have solved the train station cipher. The depth of this game is astounding. The amount of detail put into a location probably 90% of players will never visit is a testament to how much love was poured into this game. And that goes a long way to explaining what made this game so special. I needed to take time after playing this game to come back around and make this video, because I wanted to make the video about why this game was so special. But when I really thought about that, it sent me down a rabbit hole thinking what makes anything special. And that in turn made me question why make that video? What makes my video special enough to watch? And I think in some way all of that thought process ties into my answer. And I really had to wrap my head around that before I could make this video. Blue Prince isn't a wholly original experience. It borrows elements from the roguelike genre, board games, and other similar puzzle games that have come before it, but they're combined in a way that ends up distinct. Though we've seen all the pieces that make up Blue Prince before, we've never seen them arranged in this manner. This game is a work of art, an expression of one man's vision, an experience, the type of game the memory of which sticks with you, and you can't ever quite recapture the experience of playing it the first time. But more than that, it's a mystery and an adventure, but at the same time it feels mournful with a solemn and melancholy atmosphere, so lonely and isolated. And at multiple stages throughout the game, when you're between the peaks and troughs of puzzle solving, when the leads start to dry up before you discover the next big avenue to explore, it already feels like you won't recapture the experience of chasing the early game high while you're in the mid game. Then you turn a corner, see something and think, what if? Hang on, I bet I can go down there. If I fuck with the settings in the pump room, I bet I can go down there. And that leads to a whole new discovery and another branch of the adventure. It's also finite. There are a set number of puzzles. Once you've solved them, you've completed the game. There's no need to keep playing. And I think this adds something to the roguelike experience. This game has a long shelf life because you can play for a long time while you're trying to get the RNG to behave the way you want, or exploring, or trying to solve the puzzles, but the end is always in sight. There are parts of Blue Prince that weren't perfect. Sometimes the game nailed the atmosphere, like I said, and other times it did not. That fucking ceaseless pounding in the underground really made me want to spend as little time there as possible. Also, not all the puzzles were great. The gallery puzzles sucked massive fucking elephant ass in my opinion, as did Baron's Bafflers. I think most of the word puzzles were the ones that bugged me. But those are my only real gripes, and there's some beautiful flourishes in the game, like the time I entered the boudoir on the 25th of December, only to find Christmas presents had been set out for Simon P. Jones.
Simon P. Jones loves Christmas. I wonder what presents Santa P. Claus has left him this year.
The story of this game is beautiful. The characters are somehow investing without ever actually meeting them in the game. And honestly, at times the game is even kind of creepy and manages to create kind of a scary atmosphere.
I see a young boy watched from afar.
Who's watching a young boy from afar? Some kind of Simon Pedophile. I have pages and pages of notes that I took while playing, and I don't want to throw them out because even though I feel like I'm done with the game, they're a great reminder of where my mind was at while I played. Beyond that, this game made me think in a different way and do things I'm not sure any other game has made me do. This is the first time I've ever studied for an exam and still failed in a game. Oh come on, C+ is good, right? Give me the trophy. I gotta get a fucking A. Just give me the trophy. And there are also still a bunch of unsolved mysteries that I won't delve too deeply into, like what these numbers on the fountain mean, or what this fucking V on the clock in the den is for. What do you mean? What do you mean? This game won't win Game of the Year, but in 10 years' time, this is the game from 2025 people will remember. What you have heard here has been said by the not great but okay I guess Passionut. Until the dawn of my next upload, I will have nothing more to say. Like and subscribe.